Absolute Geezers, welcome to another episode of Football Is, and that is what I want, Tales of a Groundhopper. If you're new or old, do me a favour, have a look on the app if you're listening to this on Spotify and leave us a review on there. You can rate the podcast up to 5 stars, so if you are enjoying it, leave that review, share this with a friend, and let's get this show out there. Now enough of that shameful plug, on with the show. Absolute Geezers, welcome to another episode of Football Is, and that is what I want, Tales of a Groundhopper. Delighted tonight to be introducing my latest guest, and it's Matt. How you doing, Matt?
How you doing, Dan? Pleasure to be on. Thank you.
No, pleasure's all mine, mate. I've actually, do you know what? I'm doing you dirty for the video because I put a box in the way of your Matt non-league Northwest, so I must apologise about that, mate. See, bloody hell, sorry about that. No, thank you very much for coming on, mate. We had a little bit of chat off air, and I love to do this before we get into any football stories. Tell the people who, if they're not sure of who you are and what you do, bud.
So I'm Matt Murphy. I'm the media officer at AFC Darwen Football Club. Also, I write a bit for Outside the 92, and soon I'll be launching a non-league Northwest radio show on Borough Radio, which is the radio station which Bacup Borough run. But first and foremost, I'm a Groundhopper. I absolutely love my football, and that is number one for me.
Spot on, mate. Spot on. I say this to everybody, and actually, I had a guest on, Albert, who's down in London. He's not much of a groundhopper, so I brought him on because I wanted him to have a bit of a baptism of fire as to what groundhopping really is about. And I was asking him the questions, and he was like, "Bloody hell! Do you know what the questions that you're asking me? I've not got the answer that I think other people would have." And I said, "Well, this is it, mate. This is what groundhopping's all about. It's a bug, isn't it? Once you've been bitten, there's no going back."
It is. Once you've started, then you just want to see more and do more and have new experiences. It's like Pringles, as you said. Once you pop, you can't stop.
Definitely, mate. I tell you what, we're an army and we're growing, Groundhoppers. I'm telling you, we'll be running the country one day. That's for another show. So then, Matt, as I said, mate, it's great having you on. The questions I've picked for you tonight, I'm really excited to hear your answers. And as we discussed off air, it's brilliant because, as you said, it just brings back memories, doesn't it, of sort of past things that you've done as a groundhopper. And I love that about this show is here. And people obviously don't see this live, but I love watching when people are telling stories because they bring back such good memories. So I'm excited to what we've got here. So we'll kick off with the first one, and that's how many grounds have you visited?
So from a new tick last week, that put me on 255 grounds.
Brilliant, mate. That's some number. That's some number, mate. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because I kind of feel like with groundhopping, and this is a question I didn't put in there. I like to have people on the spot with this. How many grounds do you need to do before you can count yourself a groundhopper?
That's a bit of a weird question because my other half, she's took up the groundhopping bug as well, and she's now on 50-something grounds. So she counts herself as a groundhopper. Whether once you pick up the bug and it's in your mind to do more grounds and see more football, I think for me that qualifies you as a groundhopper. I
completely agree with that. I actually think that's a really good answer. That's a really good answer. Really like that one. Spot on, that is. So with regards to grounds that you visited, mate, what is the first ground that you ever visited?
Right, well, there's a bit of a story to this one. So the first ground I ever visited was Wembley Stadium, and that was for the 93-94 Division 3 playoff final between Wycombe and Preston. So the score finished 4-2 to Wycombe, but the story behind this is my parents just keep saying that I weren't really bothered about the football. I was more bothered about the occasion and batting the balloons in the stand. But at half time in the game, my parents found out and realised they had chicken pox.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah.
What a start.
Exactly. They always bring it up when Wembley stadiums, especially the old Wembley Stadium, when that's mentioned, they always go on about the chicken pox story. But straight after full time, they had to head back to Preston, even though we were meant to stay in London for the weekend because they had chicken pox.
At least they let you stay for the mind. Just saying that, I suppose, a 4-2 loss. I don't know. Would you rather have bloody gone? I don't know.
Well, at half time, Preston were 2-1 up. That's the team I've grown up following, really. They were 2-1 up, so they probably wanted to stay expecting the win and the celebration, but the day just got even worse, and Wickham under Martin O'Neill just went on and won the game.
That's unreal, mate. That is 2-1. Come on, we'll stick with it. He's got chicken pox, but look, we're 2-1 up. What could go wrong? Love it. Absolutely love that. Okay, so with regards to groundhopping, I love this question. Name me a club that you now have a soft spot for due to groundhopping.
This was a really hard question because I do get attached easily. So if I go and have a good experience at a ground, I'll 9 times out of 10, if it's a really good experience, I'll look out for the team and just follow their progress, especially in the world of social media now. It's just so easy. Yeah. But the one I have picked out is Monaco.
Oh, okay.
So I do now try and watch all the games that are televised on BT Sport when I can.
Right.
Came from, I'm not sure if you've heard of Formula E. It's like the electric version of Formula One.
Yeah.
Big fan of that. Used to go around Europe watching the different races. Went to Monaco, and I went with my mum. And eventually we were sat down, we're discussing things on in the local area, and football came into question. There was Nice and Monaco. At the time, Mad Mario Balotelli were playing for Nice. I was like, right, I'm going to get Nice tickets. And then my mum...
wasn't he?
Sorry, what's that?
He was quite decent at Nice, actually, wasn't he? He had a decent spell.
He was, yeah. And my mum said she had a tour of Monaco before, and she went, no, you'll regret it if you don't go to Monaco's ground. So caved in, got the Monaco tickets, and wow, what a stadium. It's built on top of a multi-storey car park. Not a lot of people know this.
Okay.
So it's built above a multi-storey car park. There's like art through the arches. You can see mountains over the back. It's just a brilliant view. But to top it off, the game I went to watch was when they won the League and Championship in 2017.
Is that when they had Mbappe?
They did, yeah. So May 2017, they beat Lille 4-0. They had Falcao, Mbappe, Bernardo Silva, Fabinho, Moutinho. And from then onwards, because I saw the celebrations, I thought I'll continue to watch Monaco. That summer, they sold about £200 million worth of talent, cleared out the squad. But I've stuck with them. They've got a massive soft spot in my heart, and I really just look forward to seeing how they do week in, week out due to that amazing experience.
I love that. And actually, do you know what? It's a weird one with Monaco because I don't know why, but I've always kept my eye out for Monaco. I don't. It's weird you say that. I don't even know why, but I've always, when they had that season where they did win the league, I was so happy because obviously the dominance of PSG, the millions and millions and millions they spent. And then I was so distraught when Mbappe buggered off there. I was like, oh, for Christ's sake. It's just unreal. And now it looks like he's going to go on a free. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. Not a lot of people know, but Mbappe's first year at PSG wasn't actually a transfer to battle financial fair play. It was a loan, so it was the most expensive loan in football history before he signed. And even more gutting, he's got a great record now scoring against Monaco, but what a player he is.
He is, isn't he? I think he's going to go on strength and strength. And actually, I think we're in an era now where I think we've had Messi and Ronaldo, and I think now it will be Mbappe, Haaland. I think once Ronaldo and Messi retire, I mean, to be fair, they won't retire for a couple of years yet, I don't think anyway, but I think that'll be the next big battle between them two because it looks possible that they could be going to Spain together, couldn't they? One to Barca, one to Madrid. So it's just one of the. I mean, don't get me started on how Barcelona will be able to afford, and that's another thing that really riles me. But that's football, isn't it? That's they get away with these big clubs. Okay, name me a player that gets under your skin.
This was the hardest question to answer what you sent me through, because really I don't have any players that get under my skin, but there was one that stood out, and it's kind of ironic because growing up, my dad was a North End fan, my mum an Aston Villa fan, used to look out for both teams. The person that I'm going to say now is Steven Gerrard.
Oh, yes. Yeah, go on, Matt. I'll back you with that one, mate. I can't stand him.
Basically, what it boils down to is there was always the Gerrard-Lampard debate, and I was firmly on Team Lampard.
Yeah, and mate.
Yeah, Gerrard just didn't show up at crucial times, especially for England. And then he always showed up at the times you didn't want him to show up. So he was a bit of a scaly, lucky player.
Yeah.
But saying that, and also as well, my parents brought me up to support Celtic in the Scottish League. So him going to Rangers, destroying Celtic's run, just couldn't get any worse.
No.
But that's Aston Villa now. He's saying all the right things. For me, he's had a really good start. But as a player, he did used to rile me. He was one of those. It was a villain that hopefully can turn into a hero for the villains.
Yeah, I mean, I make no. I don't hide it. I'm a United fan, and you know, I hated him anyway. But it was when he started kissing the camera at Old Trafford. It was the only time. I think it was the birth of me getting really angry when I watched United play, because it just got me so angry. And then my only moment really of happiness was when he got sent off, like 35 seconds against us, got sent, because I was in a pub full of Liverpool fans. He comes on and they're like, you know, our hero, Stevie G, it's coming, you know, you're in trouble now. A minute later, I'm just sat there like Tony Pulis laughing, and I'm just in creases with it. But do you know what? I actually agree with what I would like to say before any Stevie Gerrard fans go out there, you know, go hating. I do think he's going to be a good manager. I actually do think he looks the part, and actually, like you said, he does say the right things. And I watched him in the dugout, you know, for Villa against United, and he's so calm with his players. His players, they do a job for him. And I think if as a manager, if your players look like they're ready to go to war for you and die for you, I think you're doing something right. So I do think he'll end up being a really good manager. But I was definitely team Lampard as well. I thought Lampard was a better player. But no, I'm glad we agree on that one. Okay, now this one, I'll be honest, I'm on my own with this one. So we'll see what you say. But I always ask people, Friday night under the lights or a Saturday 3:00 kickoff, what are you choosing?
I'm going to tweak the question a bit if I can.
Okay.
So if it was on that question, I would definitely say Saturday 3 p.m. Saturday's football day. You get the buzz in the morning when you wake up, that excitement when you go to the ground. And the only problem is, though, on a Saturday is if your team lose, it can destroy your weekend. So that starts on Saturday night. At least if it's a Friday night game and you get beat, then you can wake up maybe a bit fresh the day after, thinking, right, I've still got 2 days of the weekend, a bit more positive. But I do most of my ground hopping at the moment on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
So for me, I have that extra excitement of a Saturday, and then I do my ground hopping on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. So if it was a midweek under the lights, it would be a very tough question. But if it's a Friday night under the lights or a Saturday, it's a Saturday all day long.
Might have to tweak the question, mate. You got me thinking with that one. I went to a Friday night. Well, I've been to a couple of Friday night games, and what I loved about it, and I think the reason I choose a Friday night now is because, I mean, I was driving, I was filming the game, and so I couldn't do anything that they were doing. They were all getting ready to go out on the town, but it was watching them. Their team had won and seeing how happy they were, and listening to them in the clubhouse, and they were like, right, that's it. Now we're going into town. It's going to be a great night. And I was getting pumped watching them and listening to them. You know, I was driving home. I got home and I was like, oh, I feel miserable now because I'm going to go upstairs and edit now. I'm not doing that. But I do agree with you. I've done a lot of Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights, and they're cracking. I did one just the end of end of summertime, Hormond against Whitchurch, quite a bit of a local derby in Shropshire, and the sun was beautiful. It was just a lovely, warm August evening, and I stood there and I thought, oh, this is decent. This is, but I do echo what you say. 3:00 on a Saturday, if your team loses, you're done, aren't you? Like, I mean, this will go out after the game, but I'm watching United later on tonight, and I know they're going to ruin my Wednesday night. I know they are, but you still watch them, don't you? Still love them. Gluttons for punishment, mate. Gluttons for punishment. Okay, so with regards to tickets, what's the cheapest ticket that you've ever purchased?
For me, this goes back to my younger days. Used to be the EFL. Well, it's now the EFL trophy, but back in the day, it was the Auto Windscreen Shield.
Oh, yes.
And just kid a quid, just to get local kids on. Added bonus that I used to go on every week, but had some cracking trips. So as well as home games, away to places like Saltergate, the old Chesterfield ground, Springfield Park, the old Wigan ground. So yeah, just a quid a kid in, the Auto Windscreen Shield. They were the days for me. Nice cheap tickets.
Do you think the teams need to follow suit with this? Because I mean, I had the guys on from Queen of the South, and they actually said that Queen of the South do the same thing. I think it's a quid a game, and it works out. I think for the season, a season ticket, it's like 10, 15 quid or something like that. Wow. Do you think clubs are missing a trick here and should be doing? Because I mean, the thing with me with football is, and you know, obviously you're immersed in non-league football as well. We need to be bringing that younger generation into the game, bringing them in and sort of mould them into enjoying the football, not wanting to go and watch United, Arsenal. Well, who'd want to go watch Arsenal? Who'd want to go watch United actually at the moment? But, the Cities, the Chelseas, all that. This kid a quid is such a good idea. If I was the owner of a football club, a non-league club, I'd be hammering that home. I would, because, okay, you may lose 3 or 4 quid on the gate, but it's what the kids buy inside, isn't it? It's the chocolate they buy, the drinks they buy. How often do kids want to bloody drink a pop, So look, we'll get our own non-league club, mate. We've got it sorted. We'll sort our own non-league club. We've got it. We've got the plans there. But I do think that kid a quid's a great idea. And I think in non-league especially, you should be hammering it home, really, shouldn't you?
Definitely. Well, local to me, Fleetwood Town, They have a thing called an Onward card, which is basically a season ticket that you pay for every month. So adults, they pay a monthly subscription. That monthly subscription also goes through in the summer as well. And it is really cheap. But for children, they have an Onward card.
Yeah.
And I think it's something for like under 15s, where it's £15 for the year. So at Fleetwood Town, if you're a young supporter, £15 and you get your 23 home games, which you can't beat. And that's going to obviously bring another generation of, young Fleetwood fans through the gate. So I think that's a cracking idea. Andy Pilley at Fleetwood really does a lot with the community. And I think that's an ingenious idea.
I just wish, I'm 35 now, and I wish when I was younger that groundhopping was as big as it is now for me. Because it would have been a hobby. I'd have gone everywhere. I'd have gone bloody everywhere at a weekend to watch the football. I think kids really should. And do you know what? Actually, I say this, but non-league is on the up. I don't know about you, mate, but I think non-league is on the up. The crowds are improving, and I think the younger generation are getting there. But Christ, if I'd have known it, if I knew then what I know now, oh my God, I'd have been running away with it, mate. Okay, so name me a player that you've always kept an eye out for since watching live.
So for this one, I've gone with an Irish player called Jamie McGonigal.
Okay.
So I went over to Belfast once again, another trip with my mum, who's well into football, and we were.
Stop, Matt. So your mum's interested in football. Your missus is interested in football. Oh God Almighty!
I'm so lucky. All my family members and Mrs. and her family are well into football, so it's absolute paradise.
You've got the golden ticket, mate. You've got the golden ticket. Carry on, sorry.
So I actually went over originally for Game of Thrones talk, because I absolutely love Game of Thrones. And then one evening, I was just sat on the Footballogy app, saw that Crusaders were playing at home. So I said, let's go. That's our for evening. So we went to Coleraine versus Crusaders. Crusaders massive favourites to win. They won the season prior to that game. And Coleraine won 3-0. Jamie McGonigal got 2 goals, and he was just absolutely unplayable. He just stood out on the pitch. So I've kept a track of him, and I do watch a lot of Northern Irish Premiership games on either Sky or BBC. And he actually, just before the pandemic, signed for Crusaders, who we played against. So I watched him again for another 2 years, but he actually has joined Derry City now in the League of Ireland. So he's gone from the Northern Irish Premier League to the League of Ireland. And he's an absolutely great prospect and somebody that I'll always keep my eye out for.
It's funny, mate, isn't it? When you watch some of these players, and as you alluded to there, they don't have to be your Neymars, your Messis, your Ronaldos. I love it when you watch a player play and you walk away from that game and you sit there and you honestly think he could have played against anyone tonight and he'd have done it. He'd have done the business. And I love watching players that do that. It's one of them, isn't it?
It is. There's another example of that. I went to watch West Ham away at Blackburn Rovers. I think it were about 2015 or 2016. And it was basically the Dimitri Payet show. Yeah. I think he assisted 1, he scored 2, came off the game thinking that admission fee today were just worth the price alone just to watch Payet today. And then shortly after, he obviously had the falling out at West Ham and moved back to France. But he just left me absolutely in awe of his footballing ability that day.
I think, do you know, the biggest, what's the word I'm looking for? The best thing for any player, the biggest compliment, I lost my bloody words there, biggest compliment I think any player can receive is when they're applauded by the opposition fans. And I've seen it so many times, and Payet was one of them. I remember he destroyed United in a game, and the United fans were applauding him. I think as a player, when you see that, it must be the best feeling in the world, isn't it? Because obviously you're there to please your team, you're there to please your fans, but see the opposition fans on their feet applauding you, you know, that's the feeling that you love. So okay, with regards to this one then, what non-league club would you play for if you're a footballer, and why?
You're going to know my answer to this from our talk pre-interview. So it would be AFC Darwen. I'll tell you the reason how I started watching them.
Okay.
Then the reason why I would put my body on the line, blood, sweat and tears, everything.
Oh, I love that, Matt. Love that.
So originally, my best friend was going through a really bad breakup, and he'd been kicked out of his place, worked in Blackburn. Both of us lived in Preston, but he worked in Blackburn. Next thing I know, he was in a travel lodge in Darwen. So I thought, right, I'll go and see him. So went up, and he went, "Oh, take a look at this view." So out there, it was at the back of the hotel, and the view was of the football pitch and the ground of AFC Darwen. And they played a game that night, so I stayed that night and I watched through the hotel window. And I said, right, we'll need to go again. So a few months passed, went on the game with him. And then once I went on, that was it. I had to go back. Absolutely loved it. And then I fell on hard times. So like I went through a divorce, like I worked in a good place. And literally the only thing that was keeping me going at the time was going to watch Darwen, getting all the latest Darwen news, speaking to the committee and the people that run the club. And then eventually they turned around and asked me a few, probably about 9 months later, saying, will you do our social media for us?
Okay.
And then that turned into me started volunteering more at the football club and becoming head of media like I am now. So it really helped me through a dark place. And I was actually there yesterday during the afternoon doing my work. I'm working for the club. And just the community feel. There's loads of great people there at the club. They make me feel welcome and wanted. They really helped me through my bad time. So therefore, if I were going to play for a non-league club, it would be hands down Darwen, and I would leave no stone unturned on that pitch. From first whistle to the final whistle, I would do everything for that club.
I love that. Do you know what, actually, Matt, I'll be honest with you, that's probably one of the best answers I've ever heard in all of the episodes I've ever done of this, because what you've just done there is you've just described why non-league clubs are just incredible, because it's not just a football club, it's a family, and it is that. And I tell you what, to hear the story that you've just said, it gives me goosebumps, that does, because people don't understand. You can go and watch your Premier League clubs. You are just a number. You're just a number through the door. You're just a bum on the seat. They don't give a flying monkeys about you.
Yeah.
People like the good people at AFC Darwen there, absolutely incredible. The fact that they've obviously been through all of the hardships with you, been there for every step of the way, put their arm around you, and now you're part of that family. It's not a club, it's a family. And that is why I implore anybody that listens every time to just go and get involved with non-league football, because every pound that you spend goes to that club. Every pound goes to grassroots football. Just every penny that goes there is helping that club grow. And to be able to hear a story about a football club giving you the opportunity to work alongside them it's just that is what non-league is all about. And honestly, mate, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. That is one of the best answers I've ever had. So thank you so much for sharing that story with me. And, you know, as I say, with regards to, obviously, you've mentioned you've got a partner now. So that's fantastic to know that you were able to move from that situation. And you know what? The old cliche, people don't get football. Football isn't just about the passion and the you know, the hundreds of hours of fans, the screaming, the shouting. It is a community. And I tell you what, on the right situations, that community are there for each other. They really are. You take the idiots, the racism side of it, all that malarkey out of it. It's a community that adore each other and are there for each other. There's no other community like it. So honestly, mate, thank you so much for telling that story. Because as I say, you didn't have to go into it as much, and I really appreciate that, mate. Really do. Thank you. With regards to decisions, what would you say the worst? You're smiling at this, so I'm looking forward to this one. Worst decision that you've ever witnessed at a game?
I think I was smiling because I just remembered the fury I was in back at the time. So it was 2009, 2010 season, I think. And I went to watch Preston away at Burnley. It was live on Sky. Preston were 3-1 up with 10 minutes to go. Absolutely cruising. John Parkin had got the third goal. Billy Jones he was booked really early in the game. It was something like third minute for a tackle that was a booking. So Billy Jones, our right back, went to get the ball for a throw in. He just stepped up, had his arms in the air, and then wasn't like Northam were time wasting a little before that. It was starting to creep into the game, but Billy Jones had literally just picked the ball up in his hands, about to throw it. The referee blew second yellow off, and second yellow for time wasting when he had no time to time waste, which was so if he'd held on to the ball for maybe 4 or 5 seconds, fair enough, the referee has every right to say either hurry time up or booking for time wasting. But he literally just got the ball in his hands, put the ball behind his head, got sent off, and Preston went on to lose the game 4-3 thanks to Jay Rodriguez 90th minute winner.
Oh, mate! Do you know what? Funny story, actually. I know his Billy Jones's brother.
All right.
Yeah. I used to play Sunday League, and he used to come. He was part of the team. So his name's Josh. Bless him. I'll give him a shout out. Joshua Jones. They call him Chicken. But yeah, that's funny. That is Billy Jones is from Shrewsbury, which is where I'm from. So bizarre story that. But that's frustrating. That is, isn't it? Because how often do we see time wasting of the highest order and the ref doesn't do a thing? I watched Newcastle against United this season. In the 10th minute, the keeper's got the ball for like 15, 20 seconds. And I'm like, What are we doing? What are we doing? I did the crowd go with that. I bet they were fuming.
Well, the Burnley fans just laughed and basically thanked the referee for trying to make the game a bit more interesting, which obviously it did. It took a turn. North End fans they were going absolutely mad, absolutely nuts. And just but the worst thing was you got angry at the decision, and then as the goals were flying in, it wasn't disappointment, it was anger that the referee has put us in this position and turned the game around for Burnley.
I think my cats are trying to attack me. Get back out there, you. That's the thing, mate. Honestly, I actually know what I'm like with decisions like that. I would go absolutely. Oh Christ, I'd be trying to get to the bloody ref. I would, but that's for another time. Okay, final question, and I'm looking forward to this one. I say that about every question, but I'm going to say that it's my show. I love the question. I love the answers that come out. Most bizarre thing that you have witnessed on your travels?
Oh, I've got two for. I've got two for this. One actually in the game.
Yeah.
One sparring off from something that happened within the game. So I'll start off. I went on a stag do to Albufeira in 2018, and sat by the pool, got the Footballogy app out again, see what was in the local area, and there was a game, Immortal Albufeira against Silves. Immortal needed to win to stay up. So luckily, the stag himself and a few of the lads that I was sharing a room with, they're Groundhoppers as well. And we decided to go. And Immortal was 1-0 up with about 10 minutes to go. And then it happens because I used to be a ball boy at Preston North End when I was growing up. So I know this happens. So back when, under David Moyes, he used to get a member of staff to come round when North End were in the lead, saying, right, take your time. Or if North End were trying to push back into the game, hurry it up. But this, it turns out it was the physio. We're going round to all the ball boys, basically saying, take your time. And the ball actually went to the physio. So the physio picked up the ball. He had the ball in his hands, and the opposition goalkeeper were going towards him, and he won't give him the ball. Eventually, he let him go, and then some words in Portuguese ensued, and the physio started full-on fighting with the goalkeeper. This then turned into a 22-man brawl. Then some sets of supporters from either team jumped over the barriers and started scrapping on the pitch as well at the same time. That lasted for 10 minutes, and then riot police had to come in. They were standing round the pitch while the last 10 minutes were played. But most weirdly of all, nobody got sent off. Even the goalkeeper, who had some right old jabs at this physio, stayed on the pitch.
What?
The only person to be sent off was the physio. I think he just wanted to keep it 11v11 on the pitch, but really there should have been about 4 or 5 red cards, numerous yellows, but the game ending with just a circle of riot police at the end, and then the teams were ordered at the full-time whistle to go to either side of the pitch and not have anything to do with each other, and the riot police were then marching them back into the changing rooms. That was something.
That's incredible, Matt. Honestly, mate, if ever we meet and we're on a weekend somewhere, I'm letting you pick the bloody football. Jesus Christ!
yeah, it was absolutely, and as well we cheap beer as well at the ground. It was a perfect day.
Match made in heaven, mate.
And the weird and the most bizarre thing I've seen, actually, footballing wise in the game, was I saw a header scored from their own half.
Oh wow!
So I used to work in Rochdale, and now and again I used to go and watch FC United because it was only like 2 train stops down.
Yeah.
So I went to watch FC United versus Basford just before the pandemic hit, and there was a lofted ball through, went over the halfway line, and this big towering centre half just took no prisoners, headed the ball, and the ball flew right down to the other end. Everybody's thinking, the goalkeeper's got this. the goalkeeper misjudged it, kind of ducked, and the ball went over him and into the net. So I've seen a header scored from a player's own half, which was absolutely bewildering, but I'll never forget it.
I mean, what do you say to the keeper? What do you say to the keeper? Just, oh my God.
I don't know. It was like the goalkeeper had heard a whistle or something. He kind of like, the ball was coming towards him, and he kind of like stopped and ducked. Like, it didn't really matter, but unless he had a bet on the game or something. But the ball just bounced and just went over him, and then the Basford players just couldn't believe it. And the centre half will never score a header from further out. I'll tell you that. That's
unreal, that is, mate. I love that. Absolutely love that. Just a header from his own. I don't think I've even done that on bloody FIFA. So that's something. That's something else. That is, mate. Matt, I'll be honest, mate. I've loved this. It's been brilliant. It's been a really good episode. I've loved all the stories. There's been everything in these stories, and I think people listening will completely agree. So, thank you very much for taking the time to come on tonight and share your experiences as a groundhopper. It's been really, really good, mate. Thank you.
No worries, my pleasure, Dan.
Before I let you go, buddy, can you let people know where they can find you, bud?
Yep. So my Twitter handle is and then it's Matt Pura Vida, which translates into Matt Life is Good. So
I'm glad you said that, mate, because when I was looking at it, I thought Pura Vida. I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah, it's a South American phrase, just meaning life is good. So yeah, just find me there at Matt Pura Vida, and just give us a follow or just message us.
Brilliant stuff. I love that, mate. And good luck with, and as you can see it behind, non-league Northwest, mate. Good luck with that. I hope it goes really well for you, and also all the best for the rest of the season with you and AFC Darwen, mate.
Thank you very much.
Right, and guys, well, that's all we got time for this episode. I think you'll agree. Cracking one, some great stories there. I'll keep saying it until I'm blue in the face. In fact, before I say what I always normally say, let me just remind you guys, please, please, please make sure you like and subscribe the show. Share it amongst your friends. Let's get the ground hopping message out there as much as we can. And make sure you're supporting your local clubs. Go out there and support them. That money behind their bar, behind their ticket office, goes such a long way as opposed to United, Arsenal, City, all that malarkey. So as always, big thinkers, not stinkers. Sayonara. Au revoir.